Welcome to Basketsprawl, my weekly foray into what's happening around the league. Just the NBA, you ask? Oh no, we'll be playing a suffocating full-court defense on all kinds of different entertainment. So, as we dip our pivot foots into the wonderful world of the National Basketball Association, we'll never be more than a Euro step away from topics such as movies, music, and popcorn. So, I invite you to come count carries, take the underdog money line, and grab your headbands, headphones, and popcorn, as I welcome you to episode 1 of Basketsprawl. Now, we come to the section of the season recap where we will give out NBA regular season alternative awards. Why, you must ask? Well, to honor the fact that the 2017-2018 regular season awards have yet to happen. Yes, that's right. We're coming up on the draft for next season. We're coming up on free agency for next season. And in the week to come, we're going to finally see who was the coach of the year. Was it Dwayne Casey, who got fired and rehired before the award was given to him? It's just absolutely absurd that they're trying to do a cash grab with the awards a full, basically a season later. It's truly absurd to me. So, in honor of that absurdity, I created some NBA regular season and some postseason alternative awards. We will explore all the juicy superlatives that sometimes you don't get to see in the NBA. Like this one, the All-NBA First Team Bad Defense Award. Now, taking up the one spot, point guard, goes to none other than Elfrid Payton the first. He plays in a terrible system, yes, with the Suns, and all the advanced stats back it up. And you'll find out about me, I'm not the hugest analytical guy, but it is pretty hard to find someone worse on defense than Elfrid Payton playing the point guard this season. He was .001 defensive win share, so that kind of means that his defensive effort led to .001 wins for his team. Now, just to give you a little perspective, what does that mean? I don't really know. I just know he ranks 498th out of 540 and is by far the worst defender on that list with more than 60 games played. So there's people with negative win shares, but they've played like 15, 16 games in that season. So he's 60 and by far the worst. So he takes the kick on that one just on analytically alone. For my number 2, I have the one, the only, the flopper himself, the incredible contact drawer, isolationer, doesn't even see people as people. He's a robot. He's incredible. James Harden as my starting shooting guard on my All-NBA First Team Bad Defense. Why, you must ask? Hasn't he been playing much better defense in this past season than he did 2 or 3 years ago? Yes, you might be right. But like in boxing, you have to really beat the champ to dethrone him from his spot. You have to do something where they can't take the belt away from you. They can't say you're worse. They can't say any defender is worse than you. And you know who is yet to let that happen? You watch the playoffs, you watch him just lose track of guys still, and that's James Harden. He's my champ. I don't care what anyone else says. No one's bumped him off that spot. James Harden, you're still my worst defender from the shooting guard position. I know you really tried, and you were almost relegated to the second team or the third team, maybe not even on the list, but for me, you're still at the 2. At the 3, for no reason other than just watch the man play defense, Carmelo Anthony of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh my gosh. Rel, I see you. Stay strong. That's a good friend of mine who was a big Melo fan back in the day. I can't imagine what he's been going through these last couple of years. Just stay with it, man. But yeah, Melo holding down that spot for the small forward position. Now, from the power forward position, we have Ryan Anderson with the Houston Rockets for my All First Team Bad Defense Award. And a lot of people will be like, oh, there are plenty of people that play much bigger roles and don't do as much from the 4 than Ryan Anderson. But I pose you this. This man was paid $20 million this year and will be next year to give you 14 minutes in games 6 and 7 of the Western Conference Finals, also known as the most important games that the Rockets have played in about 20 years. He gives you 14 minutes, 0 points, and is a -21 while on the floor. You're being paid $20 million to get exposed by the best offense maybe ever in the Warriors. They just constantly switched on him, they attacked him, and they exposed him. So, the impact of his bad defense is incredible. So he locks up that spot at the 4. And coming in at the 5, the one, the only, the completely missing in action, where the hell is he? Karl Anthony Towns with the Minnesota Timberwolves. He makes my 5. You know, maybe the stats don't back it up. But, the stats actually do back it up that he's that bad. But he just has too much potential to be as bad as he is. So Karl Anthony Towns narrowly beats out Nikola Jokic for that number 1 spot. Now, let's go into the next alternative NBA award for last year's regular season, the Tank of the Year. Tank of the Year is going to be kind of irrelevant next year. This was the last year to do it. Next year, the draft will be completely set up differently with the worst 12 teams having a much more equal chance to get that top pick. No more rewarding the worst team, the tankers. So this might have been the last year to tank as we know. And who did it the best? Well, I would say it's the grizzled Memphis Grizzlies. To the best of my recollection, the Grizzlies were supposed to be a pretty middle-of-the-pack team this year, and a lot of people had them making the playoffs in the West. Then Mike Conley got hurt for the 762nd time in his career. They fired a top 12, top 10 coach in the league in David Fizdale. They took the season just out from under Marc Gasol, and they somehow completely and utterly botched the Tyreek Evans situation. He got his trade value to an all-time high right around the trade deadline, and they just hung on to him. Way to be. They lost way more games than they were supposed to, and they really showed you how it's done when it comes to tanking. For the next award, my favorite award so far, it's the By God Keep Getting That Paycheck I Love You award. And that goes to Joakim Noah, the one, the only. Joakim Noah got paid $17.5 million this past season to play center for the Knicks of New York. I don't know if you've seen it, but he was spotted in the jungle in a red bandana, kind of looking like Robin Williams in Jumanji before he gets out of the game. And they were paying him about $17.5 million to do that. So by God, keep getting that paycheck. I love you, Joakim Noah. You are a bull forever. Just do you, man. Next award, that brings us to the Look What I Can Do award. This award is for players that unlocked new 2K badges this year and forgot to tell anyone about it. So here are my nominees for that award. Aaron Gordon, 3-point specialist. He went from a 29% shooter to about a 34% shooter. You know, during the beginning of the season, he was shooting as high as 47, 48%. I mean, he was deadly for a while. Now you sincerely have to watch him on the 3. Good on you, Aaron Gordon. Next is Giannis Antetokounmpo, who now, I don't know if you caught this, it went really under the radar relatively, but he can now jump and dunk over other human beings 6'6" and under. You seen this? He can finish alley-oops jumping over whole human beings. And if they're really short, maybe if you stack 2 of them, he can jump over 2 human beings probably, 6'6" and under. Sorry, Tim Hardaway Jr. Play better, says some of my Knicks friends. Last nominee is the LeBron James turnaround fall away from wherever on the court playoff jumper. In the fourth quarter of Game 2 versus Toronto, in this playoffs, LeBron just started unleashing this move none of us knew he had, where he just turned around, jumped very far backwards, and put the ball into the rim without hitting any of the rim, just the net. Pretty sensational to watch in the moment. And really, when I talk about why I think LeBron just played his probably most refined offensive season he's ever played, you know, I can point to that turnaround fall away jumper in the playoffs as Exhibit A. But the winner, I think, just because it's boring, Andre Drummond went from 41% free throw shooter to a 61% free throw shooter. Now, I know you're not all math nerds, so let me break it down for you. Jumping 20%, that's like if you shot 100 free throws and hit 0 of them last season. You come back, you shoot 100 and you make 20. That's a huge difference. Okay, let me give you another example. That's like if you shoot 100 free throws and you only make 80 of them one season. Then the next season, you make all 100. Then you're perfect. That's what he did. For all you people that don't know how math works. So he went from that, he changed the situation to now he can be out there in a crunch time. But, you know, 61% is still pretty abysmal. But now, you know, you're justified in keeping him in. So good on you, Andre Drummond, the Look What I Can Do award winner of the 27-2018 season. And that brings us to the last award of this evening, the Jordan Clarkson Award. Now, before you ask, the Jordan Clarkson Award was won by Jordan Clarkson this year. Yes, absolutely. And I don't think there's much explanation needed. Can you think of a name for an award in which you just would trade, you would sacrifice your life before wanting this person to take a shot for your favorite team. If you're a Cavs fan and you were to watch Jordan Clarkson in the playoffs, I just cannot imagine your horror, your utter horror in watching this man just chuck up shot after shot. It was an inevitability. And he got the ball, you're like, oh my gosh, this is a waste of possession. Every single time. So he kind of ran away with it this year with an all-star Jordan Clarkson performance in the playoffs. But some other nominees were Michael Carter-Williams, Jay Crowder, but only on the Cavs. When Jay Crowder was on Utah, he played well. But when he was on the Cavs, he was like Jordan Clarkson. I guess they're both on the they like replaced each other. So basically, they share the award because it was Jay Crowder in the first half of the season and Jordan Clarkson in the second half. For his playoff performance, I give it to Jordan Clarkson. Oh yeah. And the last nominee, I'm going to give it a combo award to DeMar DeRozan versus the Cavs and playoff Dame in general. Besides the incredible buzzer beater over Houston to end their season that all those years ago, Dame is kind of inexplicably not shown up in the playoffs like he has during stretches in the season, especially this season when there was like MVP buzz about him for a second and he got swept by the Pelicans. Similarly, DeMar DeRozan added all these new tricks to beat LeBron pretty much, because that's what you're talking about when you're talking about the Raptors. But both of them just didn't show up at all. And that's the Jordan Clarkson Award for this year. We'll be doing this annually, and that wraps up my season recap of the 2017-2018 basketball season.